Not so long ago, the idea of comparing a Mercedes-AMG with an Alfa Romeo around a track would have been, well, frankly ridiculous, but not anymore. Not since Alfa pulled the great big rabbit out of the hat that is the all-new Giulia Quadrifoglio. Thanks to a 2.9-litre twin-turbo V6 engine, the Alfa has the same amount of power as the 4-litre twin-turbo V8 AMG, 503 bhp. And yet it weighs less, costs less, and has one more gear ratio to call upon. The rear-wheel drive Alfa also comes as standard on a rather trick set of Pirelli Corsa tyres, whereas the AMG runs on less sticky Conti Sport Continentals. So even though you'd naturally expect the AMG to waltz this one, especially in Edition 1 guise, the Alfa has already proved itself to be one of those cars that can pull off a very big surprise. Mercedes first then, which is quickest around our favourite track at the Bedford Autodrome.
I absolutely love the C63 in all its guises, but particularly this one, the Edition 1, because it just feels a bit like a NASCAR with number plates on it, and yet underneath it all it's got this unbelievable sophistication that you just naturally expect out of an AMG. I've got it in race mode, I've got everything switched off just for the outlap so we can have a bit of a giggle in it, and it will just go sideways at any time you like. And it is a scream as a result. God. But it's really quick as well, the C63. For a rear-wheel drive car with 503 horsepower, it is utterly rude, but utterly seductive. Stops very well, considering it weighs over 1,600 kilograms. I love the steering on it. The tail end is, shall we say, quite lively, as you can see, but it's quick. For the quick lap though, I'm definitely going to put the traction control back on, because although it's an absolute scream with it off, it's definitely quicker with it on. So the big question is, can the Alfa beat the established Merc? Well, we're about to find the answer, but before I do that, I'm just going to do a little bit of a warm-up lap, because the Alfa comes on P0 Corsas, which do need a bit of heat into them before they give their best. More trick tyres than you get in the Mercedes. The Alfa, as we know, has got 503 horsepower, exactly the same as the Mercedes. I've got it in race, which means, like it or not, you lose the traction control. But the Alfa is not just as much of a sideways hooligan car as the Mercedes, although it will do some pretty big sideways stuff, as you can see. Oh, tell you what, the Alfa feels pretty tidy. It instantly feels lighter and nimbler than the Mercedes. It's definitely got better traction for obvious reasons. I'm also really liking the Alfa's gearbox, 8-speed dual clutch, and it does exactly what you want it to do, whereas the Mercedes gearbox has a bit of a mind of its own on occasions, particularly on upshifts, whereas the Alfa's gearbox is just bang bang, absolutely where you want it the whole way around. Typically Italian, super fast steering rack in it. But it's the traction and this, well, is it a Ferrari engine? It's flipping nearly a Ferrari engine. It's turbocharged, but you would not know it. The responses are just massive. Anyway, is the Alfa quicker than the Merc? I don't know. Let's start our lap now.
Across the start line, they both feel seriously rapid, and they sound pretty tasty too. But the moment you hit the brakes into the slow second gear hairpin at turn 1, it's the Alfa that feels quickest, and that's mainly due to its lack of weight. Under brakes and on turning, the Alfa just feels lighter and more agile than the AMG, And so, in simple terms, it needs less space in which to slow down, turn, or accelerate. It quite clearly generates more grip than the AMG pretty much everywhere around the lap. Again, this is due to its absence of weight, yes, but it's also a consequence of the Alfa's tyres being that much stickier than those of the AMG. Along the back straight, they both hit exactly the same speed. But then the Alfa's apex speed in the quick chicane was a couple of miles an hour up on the AMG. And through the last two corners, both of which are very fast and taking in fourth gear pretty much flat out, the Alfa again feels more agile and ultimately generates more speed. And in the end, the stopwatch just doesn't lie. The AMG monsters its way around the lap in 1 minute 23.1 seconds, which is more than decent for a rear-wheel drive car that weighs as much as this. But the lighter, just as powerful, even faster Alfa got round over a second quicker than the AMG overall, with a time of 1 minute 21.8 seconds. And that, as they say, is a right old result for the Italians.